For decades, early management theory assumed effective leadership was purely inherent. You either possessed unteachable genetic characteristics, like the relentless determination seen in historical figures, or you didn't. But an entirely different set of inherent traits can also yield massive success. Other leaders are defined by demanding, highly critical, and aggressively visionary behaviors. Identifying these traits fails to explain the anomaly of context. A person possessing these exact characteristics will often fail spectacularly when placed in a different organizational environment. Modern organizational psychology establishes a different thesis. Effective leadership is not an inherent genetic sequence. It is an adaptable system of behaviors reacting to environmental contingencies. To understand how this system actually functions, researchers had to stop looking at who leaders are and start measuring what they do. Mid-century studies from Ohio State and the University of Michigan converged to categorize leadership into two distinct, measurable behavioral axes. The first axis is task-oriented behavior. This is a strict focus on setting goals, organizing workflows, and actively monitoring performance metrics. The second axis is people-oriented behavior. This prioritizes building interpersonal relationships, supporting team members, and addressing their psychological needs. This chart is the Blake and Mountain managerial grid. It acts as the standard tool to plot these two behaviors against one another. Isolating either behavior creates systemic flaws. A pure production focus ignores human capital, while a pure people focus fails to drive the required output. The theoretical ideal of the grid sits at the top right, team management, where a leader maximizes both task structure and human consideration simultaneously. Aiming for a perfect 9 out of 9 score seems logical on paper. In the real world, it fails because it ignores the most volatile variable in any organization, the followers themselves. This is Hersey and Blanchard's situational leadership theory. It modifies the behavioral grid by adding follower context into the equation. The new independent variable is performance readiness, categorizing employees on a spectrum from complete novices to highly capable experts. An entry-level novice requires a specific intervention. A high-task, highly directive approach, shown here in the telling quadrant, is mandatory to establish baseline competence. Apply that exact same directive behavior to a highly capable expert, and it becomes destructive micromanagement. The leader must back off entirely and shift to the delegating quadrant. Effective leadership is a moving target. The required style must continuously evolve and recalibrate as the team's competency grows. Follower capability is only half the context. The broader power dynamics of the organization also dictate which management styles survive. This graph maps Fiedler's contingency theory. It provides a mathematical framework comparing leader effectiveness against the overall favorability of the environment. Situational favorability relies on 3 specific metrics: leader-member relations, the rigidity of the task structure, and the leader's position power. Combining these variables creates a spectrum of 8 distinct organizational environments, ranging from highly favorable and secure to highly chaotic. The data reveals a counterintuitive finding for task-oriented leaders. They excel at the absolute extremes, thriving either in highly secure environments or stepping in to salvage highly disastrous ones. Relationship-oriented leaders are heavily penalized at those extremes. They exclusively thrive in moderate, ambiguous situations where interpersonal nuance is required to drive progress. Fiedler's data conclusively proves there is no universally optimal leader. Failure is frequently just a mathematical mismatch between a manager's behavioral baseline and the environmental contingencies. All the analytical frameworks we have examined, the behavioral grids, readiness scales, and contingency models, fall under the strict umbrella of transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is an exchange-based operational system designed to maintain and optimize the existing status quo. These managers utilize strict systems of rewards, punishments, and rigorous performance monitoring to ensure absolute, unwavering adherence to established rules. The critical vulnerability of this paradigm is its reactive nature. It maintains current efficiency, but systematically stifles the creativity and long-term innovation required to adapt. Optimizing the present is insufficient for surviving the future. A completely different overlay is required to steer organizations through shifting markets. Transformational leadership serves as that visionary counterpart. It focuses on inspiring followers to achieve extraordinary outcomes that transcend their immediate self-interest. 4 distinct pillars differentiate this approach: charisma, vision, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Transformational charisma and consideration appeal to higher ideals, successfully uniting disparate groups toward massive systemic change. Meanwhile, transformational vision and intellectual stimulation redefine industry boundaries, fostering a culture of aggressive innovation. Organizations do not permanently choose between these two paradigms. Attempting to survive on pure vision without transactional structure leads to operational collapse. The modern organizational leader must master transactional contingencies to ensure survival today, while simultaneously wielding transformational vision to architect tomorrow.